The year was 1973. The album Fuente y Caudal. The song Entre Dos Aguas. This was the song that went boom all over Europe and the world, really. Entre Dos Aguas solidified the international recognition of flamenco guitar as a solo instrument. And believe it or not, up until that point of time in Spain, the flamenco guitar as a solo instrument, supposedly, had not yet been definitively and legitimately accepted as a solo instrument to be recorded for an entire album, even though such recordings had already been released by guitarists like Ramon Montoya, Manolo de Huelva, Niño Ricardo, Andrés Batista, Sabicas, Melchor de Marchena, Pepe Martinez, Paquito Simón, and Paco Peña. But not only did Entre Dos Aguas establish flamenco guitar as a solo instrument, it set a new precedent of virtuosity for guitarists all over the world. Suddenly, electric and steel string guitarists who had never really heard of flamenco guitar before became intrigued with Paco De Lucia's playing. And they were especially intrigued with the fact that he could play so fast, right? So cleanly and so aggressively without using a pick. And because he wasn't using a pick, this enabled him to employ all sorts of intricate techniques like raqueos, pulgar, alzapúa, arpeggios, and of course, picado. This was nothing new to Paco. Rather, this was the musical tradition he was raised in, right? What came so natural to Paco, technique-wise, must have seemed like a completely different school of guitar playing to others who were not familiar with a flamenco guitar technique. And in a way, they were right. When compared to all other styles of guitar, flamenco guitar is quite different. Now, another important thing that Paco did with Entre Dos Aguas was he integrated elements of other musical genres into the flamenco genre, particularly jazz and blues, but rather subtly, right? And with good taste. And that's what we'll cover here in this lesson, in lesson number 7 of Entre Dos Aguas. So if you stay tuned, not only will you learn this way cool passage from Entre Dos Aguas, but you'll also learn 3 scales, 2 flamenco guitar techniques, and 7 exotic chords. And just a quick reminder that if you like what you see so far, go ahead and give this video a like right now, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, so you never miss out on a flamenco guitar lesson each time I post them. If you're stopping by this channel for the first time, this is Flamenco for You Guitar Tutorials. I'm Ben, and it's my job to take you from 0 to 60 on your flamenco guitar journey, no matter what your current level of experience is on the guitar, or if you've never even tried playing the flamenco guitar before. And if you've absolutely had enough of aimlessly trying to learn or master the flamenco guitar on your own and are finally ready to have a mentor teach and guide you through the most easiest and funnest process and the fastest way possible with the least amount of friction, then I highly recommend you stick around until the end of this video to learn how you can potentially have the chance to work one-to-one with me. So enough of that, right? Let's get started with the lesson already. Vámonos. Before we open up our tabs, if you haven't had the chance yet to catch the previous lesson in this series of Entre Dos Aguas, and you'd like to start there, then you can easily access those videos by clicking on them in the description below. Let's first go over the 2 techniques we'll be using for this section of music. We'll be using picado apillando, or rest strokes, and an arpeggio in the technical sense, not the musical sense. I'll explain what I mean shortly. The chords we'll be using are D, C, C major 7B, C7B flat, B, B flat major 7, and B7A. Rewind and pause this video as much as you need to become familiar with these chords, or simply download them by clicking on the link below for the chord charts and tabs available at patreon.com/flamenco for you. And by doing that, you're also supporting this channel. So thank you in advance. I look forward to seeing you over there. One of the scales you use is a 2-for-1 scale of a B Phrygian and an E Aeolian. I call the B Phrygian and E Aeolian modes, or scales, a 2-for-1 because while they are different in the keys of B and E, they both share the same notes and fingerings. So if you learn one scale, then you've already learned the other. Isn't that cool? If you think so too, then write music is cool in the comments. Now moving on, the 3rd scale we'll use is a blues scale in E, but with an added major 7. We'll also play 2 notes from the blues scale in E up real high here on the 12th fret. And although we're just playing the 2 notes of E and G here in this falseta, I'll just go ahead and review with you all the entire blues scale here with the 12th fret. All right? There you go. Now, I know I'm going quick here, but that's because I respect your time and also because you've got a pause and rewind button, which I highly recommend you use while watching this lesson and studying the tabs and charts, which, once again, you can access in the link below. Again, if I'm going too fast for you, just let me know by typing in the comments, too fast. If the pace is just fine, however, then go ahead and type just fine in the comments. Just remember, if you need any help, I'm here for you. Just book a call with me by clicking on the link in the description where it says book a call. So now that we've just gotten our feet wet with the chords and scales that are to come, let's jump right into the section of Entre Dos Aguas, note for note. So place your 4th finger and your 3rd finger here on the 9th fret of the D string and G string. Like that. Let's now focus on the right hand. Play each note with the alternating fingers of index and middle fingers using apoyando rest technique. And once we get to A sharp on the 6th fret of the E string, right there, we use legado, or a hammer-on, with your 2nd finger up really quickly. Tracing your 1st finger from the 6th fret all the way up to the 12th fret. And when I use the term tracing, I actually mean to say that you'll actually touch your 1st finger with the E string, making contact and gliding along, but you're not actually fretting along the way. Not like this, but like this. Silence, right? Just using it to trace up to the 12th fret, then you'll apply the pressure right there. Now at that point, we come to the high E and G notes on the 12th and 15th frets, using the 1st and 3rd fingers. And then we trace back down on the E string with your 1st finger, right there, to the B note on the 7th fret. And that is quite a jump. Then we settle back into a Sahia position on the 7th fret so that we can play our D major with as much ease and grip as humanly possible, right? We do an arpeggio here on the 2nd part of this bar now. Now, if you remember in the beginning, I said we'd be doing a technical arpeggio rather than a musical arpeggio. So what do I mean when I say technical arpeggio? And how is it different from a musical arpeggio? That's a good question. Here I'm using an arpeggio technique insofar that I'm grouping my thumb, index, middle, and ring fingers together and plucking 4 different strings simultaneously. This is a bit different than a musical arpeggio, which would be the case if I were to play each string separately with the thumb, index, middle, and ring fingers in sequential order like this. If you're experiencing some hand fatigue at this point while practicing the Sahia or bar chord within these upcoming bars, then you do have the option to reinforce that Sahia with your 2nd finger, which I would say to you, go ahead and do that. Just place your 2nd finger right here, which is not currently in use, on top of the bar chord, and just press down on the top of the index finger to lessen the strain between your left hand and your index and your thumb. Next, we have 4 pithy notes to play, starting off with our middle finger of our right hand playing hand and alternating to I. M, I, M, I. This, I believe, is a good alternation pattern because it allows us to grab that E string in a natural way. Now take your Sahia and move it down a whole step or 2 frets down to the 5th fret for a C major chord. These are the same notes that you would hear in a C major chord fretted down in the standard lower position. But we're fretting them up here with the Sahia on the 5th fret in order to play some extra bass notes of B and B flat, like that. Adding these bass notes changes our C chord to C major 7B, like that. Now, theoretically, sure, we could play these notes down here, the bass notes, with the standard voicing of the C major chord down here, but we played up here on the 5th fret, so we have access to these high notes up here, like that, which we wouldn't otherwise have down here. Does that make sense? Now let's play those final B chords in rhythm. So once again, those notes are, then we come down half a step to our B, the same fingering that we use for our progression down here, 4, 4, 2, and the rhythm for that is, again. And that's it. Now let's go through it really slow. So first notes are rest strokes. We got legato. Trace up here. Come back down again. Relax into the Sahia position. Now our arpeggio. whole step. Same pattern. All right, so let's give it a run through at 70 beats per minute. Here we go. Now a little bit faster at 80 beats per minute. Here we go. And just a quick reminder, don't forget that you can go over to patreon.com/flamenco for you to get these tabs and interactive sound slice tabs as well, so you can study and get more out of this lesson. Now a little faster at 90 beats per minute. Here we go. Great, so that was the lesson. Congratulations for making it this far. Now, one thing I'd like to make clear is when you're here watching this lesson and you try and transfer what you've seen over to your flamenco guitar, try to remember to take the process of learning the music chunk by chunk. What do I mean by chunk by chunk? Well, a chunk could be a section, a few bars, a single bar or half bar. It really doesn't matter. What does matter is that you're lifting the amount of weight, figuratively speaking, that you can handle, but at the same time taking on a chunk which still challenges you. Also, please make sure to have your guitar out on a stand, hanging on a wall. Just have it accessible to you throughout the day and evening in the same place where you just keep your tablature and your sheet music and your notepad, your metronome, your nail file, your nail clippers, sahia, all your guitar related stuff. But the point is just have your flamenco guitar in one single place, ready and accessible, so that you don't get caught up in having to take the guitar case out of the closet, then unlatching the guitar case, taking out the guitar case and putting it back into the closet. You should be able to have the freedom to pick up your guitar and play, study or practice at a whim whenever you get some free time, so that you can consistently get that guitar in your hands, so over time the flamenco guitar becomes a part of you and you can just start expressing yourself through your instrument like you've always wanted to. You deserve it. That's it. Thank you for watching. And a big thanks to all our Patreon supporters, especially those at the Oro level members who keep this channel going. Viva tu! And also please just take 2 seconds to like and subscribe and comment below to help this channel grow so that flamenco guitar can enter the lives of more souls around the world. Thank you. Until next time, take care.